London Reels, Way Better Idea, sponsored by Xbrain. What's the first thing you do when you get into work in the morning? Check your email, right? Wrong. I took a tip from Tim Ferriss, former guest on London Reel, and I'm now following the information diet. You see, when someone sends you a message on Facebook, email, or even Twitter, it's their agenda for your time. And what you need to focus on is your agenda. So I stay off the email and the messaging systems until 12 noon every day, and instead, I write that proposal that I need to, I make that phone call, or worst case, I compose an email, but I do it offline. That way, you can get the most done with your day and not just continually be reactive to those who are demanding your time. That's today's Way Better Idea, brought to you by the folks at Xbrain. If you want to check out their Way Better protein powder, it's grass-fed, it's free range. You can get 15% off with the customer code LondonReel. Click on the link below or go to xbrain.co.uk. Peace! I've read some articles and you guys are, diving in the middle of the night and cutting nets, in these, Croatian, places where these commercial fishermen are there who I'm guessing would not be very impressed with you doing this. And you've been in Japan as well, freeing some of the dolphins there. Can you tell me why that is such an integral part of Blackfish as far as this action? Is this illegal action that you're taking?
No, essentially we are enforcing the law.
Okay.
So essentially what we're focusing on is to expose and challenge the illegal practices that go on. Just because something is illegal does not mean it's isn't very destructive. So there is an element there of just focusing on the things that are destructive. But for a large part, the things that are illegal are still happening on a big scale. The overfishing of bluefin tuna is a big one. Bluefin tuna is the largest of all tuna species, and really, this is like the tiger of the ocean. This fish can accelerate faster than a Ferrari ever could. Literally 2-3 flips of its tail fin, and it will reach speeds of 55, 60 miles an hour. And at the moment, it's worth more in its weight than silver. So 50 to 70,000 US dollars is what paid for a single fish.
For a single fish.
Yeah.
I don't think people have an idea the size of the tuna, because all they know is tuna in a can. But they are these huge fish.
Enormous.
And the prime ones can fetch even 10 times that on the Japanese market, right?
Yeah. So what we've seen is, very much from the 1956s onwards, technologies like sonar, increase in engine efficiency, it basically meant that those things that were developed, those techniques that were developed during the Second World War, became available to other uses. So the fishing industry experienced this big sort of industrialization, the golden age of fishing. And with that came very much this push of, how do we promote this bluefin tuna, which traditionally, especially in Asia, which is now the biggest consumer of it, wasn't eaten. People considered it quite a dirty sort of meat.
Okay.
So what we've experienced is very much this big push, also with subsidy money from the EU in the Mediterranean, which is a big area for bluefin tuna, heavily overfished in recent years. And we're now at a situation where it's literally at the brink of extinction. And on the action part, we've always said, when a species is this endangered, do we need more lobbying? Do we need more talking? Like at some point, especially if the law is so clear on it, the law states that you cannot catch a bluefin tuna under 35 kilos. Because the baby tuna, if you catch them, they haven't even had a chance to reproduce. What's really happening in the oceans is that literally the animals can't reproduce fast enough to kind of feed our demand for cheap fish.
Right.
And, the bluefin tuna is as endangered as the white rhinoceros and elephants and everything else. So,
but again, because people can't see them and touch them and go to the reserve and take pictures with them, it makes it easier to forget about.
And there is a lot of money to be made. And this is the thing that when in sort of 10 years ago, it was clear that bluefin tuna is, nearing extinction. Then you'd think the international community, especially also in politics, would stand up and do something. But this is exactly where the industry wanted it to be. And this is known as the economics of extinction. Imagine that you can catch those few remaining tuna and you can deep freeze them and put them in storage. Imagine if the species is gone. You're literally sitting on a commodity that's now worth more than silver in its weight, and you can set the price. So Mitsubishi is a company that buys up 80% of the bluefin tuna caught every year and puts it in deep freeze storage. And we're seeing big investment money from companies that have nothing with fishing traditionally. And it's just, this is just a good investment opportunity. So they're literally banking on the fact that this species is going extinct.
Really?
And that's turning in profits.
How long can you freeze those things for?
For years.
Really?
They blast freeze them, yeah.
And so they're really holding that commodity until it becomes something extinct or rare.
Yeah. So what we did, to come back on action, last year, we investigated this company of Croatia. They have these tuna farms. So they catch the tuna in the wild and they put them in these sort of pens at this farm offshore.
And why in Croatia? Why is it just the legality there? The enforcement is a little more difficult?
So the interesting thing
is... That's EU, right?
No. They're keen to join the EU.
Okay.
Which also makes it interesting. But the Adriatic Sea, which is where Croatia is located, is a relatively shallow sea. And what science is just sort of catching up on is, some people basically now conclude that the tuna, when they spawn, basically the baby tuna, that they live in the Adriatic for 2-3 years before they join the kind of elders, the bigger groups, again, the bigger schools. So what the Croatians were doing is basically, despite this ban on the fishing of the baby tuna, they were catching them specifically, and they were claiming that it was their traditional right because it's outside of their territory. But essentially, if you catch all these fish in large numbers, I mean, the species literally doesn't stand a chance. Imagine if you're catching all the rhino or elephant babies. And
this week on London Real, I have a one-to-one chat with extreme entrepreneur Peter Sage.
Because most people have a death grip on how they think reality should look like, and all stress comes from life not fitting your pictures.
When you're not forcing something and you're actually enjoying everything that you do, you attract all of these people and all of these energy and all these opportunities.
100%. I'm no longer sitting on the shore waiting for my ship to come in. That's Disneyland thinking. That's never going to happen.
People love to hear the victim story. That's all the news is.
If I understand other people rather than project my own model of the world onto them, then I'll have a little more tolerance in my life.
I'm curious what you think of psychedelics.
A ship in a harbor is a safe ship, but that's not what ships are built for.
That's one of the coolest things I've ever heard.
Yeah, it makes it real.
And I do this every week. On Sunday, London Real presents Peter Sage, extreme entrepreneur.
That's it. Stress is a byproduct of you thinking that life should look a different way to where it is right now.